Okay, August 18th, 2022. I'm watching a video on BitChute here. Okay. And it's done by, well, it's not done by, this is just a re-upload, right? I think this guy who's doing this video calls himself the Crow House. But anyway, I'm watching, okay? And remember, I just had this dream about Shmei a few days ago, right? 4 days ago or something like that. And remember I told you she had something blue between her legs? It was kind of glowing, right? It stood out. It wasn't blood, but it was a sanitary pad of some kind. Okay? That was the impression that I got. That's why I went to her to tell her she needed to remove it, being that she was in front of a professional office reception area, and she was filling out paperwork to sign it because there was something that she wanted done. And in light of what's going on with court, it probably had something to do with court. Because like when you go into the registers of into the register of the court, you go to file your documents, right? You're standing there, and and they're on the other side. Okay, so anyway, this is the color of somewhat in my dream. That was the only color that stands out in my dream. Okay, so much so that it made me walk towards her. But as soon as I got to her, like I said, all of a sudden she was upside down as if she was hogtied, with one shoulder laying on the ground. So her body was, curved, right? But her legs were suspended and tied together because they were together at the top of the feet. And she was, her back was against the reception area. So she was facing this way, and the reception area was behind her. It was like she was strung up onto the reception area. Okay, and then, of course, I pulled her down, right? So anyway, we're going to just watch this for a second, okay? Because this is new information. Now, what this is a sanitary pad that's been developed by somebody in India, okay? And it's called Premium Graphene Sanitary Napkin, okay? So, let me just try and find a way to turn this on.
Innovated for women's health.
Why graphene in a sanitary pad would somehow make it more effective, I don't know, graphene being a metal. But there was a guy who did an experiment, and I don't know, maybe you could try this at home if you can get hold of some of these sanitary pads and see if you can confirm whether this is real.
Okay, so I have a sanitary napkin here. See how thin it is? All right. If you notice, it has the 3D sides on it. The sides are amazing, the protective sides, okay? Now if you notice, nothing happens, right? It's a 7-watt light bulb. If you take it, you open this up. Here's the strip. Nothing happens. Once it gets wet, put it in the water. Once the graphene is infused strip, boom, it works.
Well, that, people.
So when that strip is wet,
blue and fluorescent. That's what I seen in my dream. To the point where it didn't flash like that. It was much smaller, but it was definitely a bluish color that was somewhat fluorescent. That's why I approached her. Now, isn't that interesting?
the light
You can see the blue.
bulb illuminates. So the graphene evidently is activated when the strip is wet. That's powerful, very powerful. All right? So that's the best way to use the graphene strip, showing the power of graphene in a sanitary napkin. All right.
Be interested.
So, what does that mean? What does that mean? Is it a warning for me to warn others? I don't know. It just seems too perfect timing, don't you think? But I wouldn't be surprised, people. I sent an email to whoever's emailing me, like the court registry, to first it was to set up a time to do a MS team to get the reading on the decision from the judge. Then Sonia too canceled, said she couldn't do it till next week. Then the judge, I guess, informed the court that he's just going to do a written judgment. And I just sent an email this morning. How do I receive it? How am I supposed to get it, people? Do I go to the courthouse and get it? Maybe I have to. I don't know. Do I go to New Westminster to get it, or do I have to go to Coquitlam to get it, or do I have to go to Vancouver to get it? If I want to appeal, I have to go to Vancouver. Right? And I have to pay the $200. Again, people. I'm not photocopying nothing. Never mind in multiples of 3s, so 3 judges can see it. I'm just going to tell them I'm a poor woman being jerked around. And I just want to document that I'm making an attempt to appeal, right? Whatever decision this Judge Ross is going to throw at me. Right? So they can't accuse me of dropping the ball. Okay. And I'm just going to start all over again. Somehow, some way. Be more specific with those material facts. Yeah. And, I don't want to say accept, but it's almost like you have to accept the evil around you, because I'm dealing with a lot of evil people. Evil individuals. Some of them have been altered. Okay? Like, there's just too much going on in the world too fast with that, gap. And the best way I can explain the gap, people, is my province, British Columbia, Canada, has been overtaken by organized religion that participates in organized crime on multiple levels, where 10 years ago, my landlords couldn't get any more than $800,000 for this house. Okay? To where 10 years later, in the here and now, they're asking for $3 million, and more than likely will get $2 million or more. Well, I am being told to get rid of my stuff and to prepare myself to never have this type of situation again, because I cannot afford it. Even though I'm the one that paid the mortgage, even though I'm the one that went blind working in this yard all these years, trying to keep up with the attacks that I was getting in order to try and force me out just so that they could raise the rent for the next tenants moving in, knowing that at some point they were going to kick them out, repeat the process until they were ready to sell at an inflationary rate, and don't care what happened to all the tenants that basically lost their lives, just so those property owners and those property developers can amass great wealth, people, because, right? Business is business, but business, when my landlords sell this house, they can take their $1 million of profit, pure profit, that accumulated over a period of, we'll say, 10 years, okay? As I was basically forced to work in this yard for months on end, 10 to 12 hours a day, just so that I wouldn't get evicted because the yard was being used against me, even though it was nothing but a fucking mud pit when I moved in, full of weeds, raccoons, rocks, sand, grit, mud, water drainage problems, all kinds of crap, okay? My family got targeted, right? Shimei was targeted through the school with the donation of blood, so they blood typed her, right? They didn't want her testifying and helping me with Uncle John's case, so they had to take her out, people, right? And they booked her in because, between giving birth to Amari, that was a setup. Clearly it was a setup. They took out a soldier when they injured Amari because they knew, right, that I'd be housebound looking after him as they bring in their snipers, their paramedics to, right, make a report that I don't even know what was reported on, but yet there's a file as I'm asked to be, leave the file open. It's just, we can help you with something at some point. Okay, whatever, right? You help me with Julian's sister, right? If something happens to me, you make sure that bitch doesn't come anywhere near him. So yeah, keep the file open. That's what I told her. Keep the file open because at least there's backup for Tisha. Okay, but other than that, people, right? I give up my life, right? I take the hits as they come, right? My landlord makes $1 million in profit. That's just one landlord out of hundreds of thousands of landlords like my landlord. You see, there's that organized religion, okay? And they got their $1 million in profit to go buy organs when they need a heart, people. How do I know that my landlord, who has heart problems, hasn't already had a heart transplant and nobody just hasn't told me about it? Right? And if he did, where did he get that heart from? Huh? I posted a link where in the province of British Columbia, Canada, they're taking out more organs than they ever have before from dead bodies. Well, every now and then, you get an individual that comes in and tries to say, through comments or whatever, that tried to say that they don't take organs out from dead bodies. Well, I just posted a freaking link that confirms that they do. Okay? They've been doing it forever. Right? They prefer them fresher than that, but they'll take them by any means necessary. They don't care. Because that's the evil part of what we're dealing with here. And they can afford to do it. You see, that's the thing. All they have to do is sit on a house for 10 years. Less than 10 years now, people. It's less than 10 years, okay? 5 years, 4 years, 3 years. That's how fast these property values are going up. Because it's some sort of, it's some sort of game that they play between themselves in terms of bumping up the rates, right? The profit margin, right? Like who makes $1 million on a house in less than 10 years? And even then 2-3 years ago, it would have been impractical to ask for $3 million. Now it's practical, and more than likely they'll get their 2 million. 2 million, 2 million, 2 million. Or maybe even more. To which my landlords make well over $1 million in profit. Okay? It's profit. It's clear profit. They didn't do anything outside of put up with me to make that kind of money, people. And it's been hard living in this house. It took fucking years to get the bathroom downstairs fixed. And even then, it never got fucking fixed properly. And then when we finally did get it fixed, I don't know, people, like, the porch is ready to, I don't get no help with that. Never got no help with the fucking yard. Always had problems with the pipe. And just whatever. If you don't like it, you can move, right? I'm begging Tisha to have Alex come and fix underneath the kitchen sink. How long have I been talking about underneath the kitchen sink? For 7 fucking months, people. My back door is ready to fall off. Oh, well, tell the guys, but they just don't come. Okay, yeah, okay. Whatever. You make your $1 million. If you need a fucking heart because you're 82 years old, you're gonna go buy one. You see, that's the thing. That's what I'm fighting for, people. It's been exposed, but the government is trying to cover it up. There are hundreds of thousands within that organized religion. And it's easy to wipe us off the map in terms of my family, because all they do is kill us off, harvest us, okay, one way or another, and then they just bring in other immigrants to replace us and to fudge the numbers, to hide the deaths. As they make profit, because as soon as they harvest that body illegally and sell it on the black market, they're making back their $1 million that they invested to go buy something, because now they're selling it. As they're doing their write-ups on their rent, on their tenants, partnering up with corrupt government agencies to continue on with the next targeting cycle. Okay? In terms of, well, we're going to target this family, but not that family. And because that family is being targeted so much, everybody else in the community are going to think that they just cursed or something like that. They got bad luck, or they've been cursed. So we're not going to help that family, because we don't want that negative energy, even though there's a couple in the neighborhood with a whole bunch of freaking government workers cursing that family by targeting them and stalking them and setting them up for failure and making sure that they live in misery, and they're always fighting, and things are broken, and they've got no place to go, and people get plucked out here and plucked out there, right? Just so that they can make more money and have available hearts and livers and kidneys and eyeballs and freaking other body parts. It doesn't cost them to dig into their own pocket to be able to afford $500,000 for a fucking heart, when all they have to do is sell a house. After they destroyed a household in terms of a family, people. And it's like this all across everywhere. Some places worse than others. I guess it all boils down to that, how entrenched that organized religion is in regards to in the United States. People are going through the same shit. It's just nobody's really had the time to stop and connect the dots and think about it. Never mind talk about it. How do you think I feel? Sitting here knowing that my landlords have made $1 million off of the back of my family and our misery and our deaths. Okay? And then wonder if maybe my landlord is the one that got my daughter's heart, because my daughter's body was harvested, people. Okay? And being that it's that easy for them to make money just by flipping freaking houses. Because this is not the only house that they've owned in the last 12 years since I've been here. They've sold other houses, okay? They own more than one, right? But for whatever reason, this one they hate, right? You know, their family, you know, get rid of Judy, get rid of Judy. She doesn't pay enough rent. You know, get rid of Judy. She doesn't work hard enough in the yard. Get rid of Judy. You know, if you can't get rid of Judy, then at least sell the fucking house. Okay? Sell the house so that you can give it to me in terms of money. My landlord comes to me and says, "Oh, well, you know, I'm selling the house because, you know, I'm just trying to look after myself with private care when I get too old, and, you know, I want to leave something to my grandkids." Slap me in the face. That's what you get to leave for your grandkids, but my grandkids get literally injured by your people, a Punjabi, right? That will never be held to account. Not to mention what a Punjabi did to Shimei, that will never be held to account, and who will be at the mercy of vipers. My grandson Amari will be at the mercy of vipers for his whole life. And you come and you tell me that I've done everything I've done. I've put up with everything I've put up with. Right? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of shit I've had to put up with, people. Okay? You've insulted me. You've gaslighted me. You've made me feel bad. Right? You've put me in a position where I feel like I can't fucking do anything. But you're the one that's going to walk away with $1 million fucking profit and then tell me that you're not going to go running off and buying yourself a heart as soon as your heart goes out at you on age 85? Yeah, okay. After knowing what I know, after going through what I've been through, people, seeing it happen to my own family with negligent judges wanting to turn a blind eye because all they want to do is make sure that they can take their $1 million that they milk from the taxpayers sitting up on some fucking podium acting like they're a judge making the right decision for society. No, if he turns away my family, he made the decision for himself, people, to make sure that he can go off and buy himself a fucking heart. And for all we know, he's a property owner too and doing the same damn thing as that organized religion is doing over there, because the Catholics aren't any better, because we've seen that with Eleanor Gilding. Eleanor Gilding took Uncle John's inheritance money that she never told him about for 14 months until she had him under lock and key, drugged up and practically dead. And she took that money and she went off and she bought herself some freaking property so she could act like my landlord and get richer. And then say la vie, get out of here. Oh, but before you go, wait, we want this one. We want this one over here because we've got a recipient over there who needs a donor. And guess what? We can afford to pay for it. So fuck the government. I know how it works around here, okay? In the province of British Columbia, Canada, with their donation of organs. That's a smokescreen. Who makes $1 million on a house sale? Just for doing nothing, basically, other than putting up with a tenant that they don't like. And if they don't like you, why the fuck would they help you? Do you honestly think they would care if they injured you or one of your family members? No, because they don't like you. They just use you when it's convenient for them. This judge telling me to take Dr. Barr, the one with the big ass fucking turban on his head, standing there glaring, right? Didn't even have the decency to come up and talk to me on the day that they said that Shimei was dead, brain dead. He had his homie, the other doctor, tell me. And then when we went in to go to Shimei's ICU ward, there he was, standing there with a fucking turban, glaring. But his name is all over her paperwork. And that's what I'm supposed to take to court. Yeah, okay. I Googled his name. He's not even coming up on the search engine right now. Well, the last time I Googled it, he didn't even come up on the search engine. First time I did, He did. So what? Did he go to another province and pick up activities over there? Did he go back to fucking India? I don't know. Or is the government just hiding him? Keeping him hidden away like their little dirty secret that obviously does the bidding for them. So that the judge, when he gets 82 years old, can dig into his bank account and go off and buy organs, being that the system is already in place, been in place for a long time, and is well greased because, all you have to do is sit on a house for a few years and make a whole whack of money and to hell with everybody else because they're just on the line to be harvested anyway, right? You throw me out into a housing market where there's no affordable housing, what do you expect to happen? We already know why Amari was injured at the time of his birth and how he was set up for what? You tell me, with a half a life expectancy of 45 years, with a whole bunch of fucking people always poking on him, waiting for a seizure. Exposing him to this, giving him x-rays every 6 months, just whatever. So yeah, I'm around a lot of evil individuals. That's it. Lots of people are around a lot of individuals. How you separate them in the sand, I don't know. I don't know. Because when you get into my position, you're a sitting duck. And all you get is sniped at. And then you just lose another family member to death. As the ones that can afford to buy the leftovers in terms of, the organs, the teeth, whatever, the skin, the muscles, the bones, the blood, the eggs from the women. Right? Well, that's an easy fix. Just overinflate the housing market, kick out the tenants, and make $1 million profit. And then go and start all over again. And again, and again. To the point where if you needed 100 hearts, you could buy them because the network is already in place. You just need the 100 victims in order to get those hearts. And where do you think they're going to get those victims from? Well, they flush out their houses, people.